With the No More Drug
Oh,
War.
yeah, I'm with Students for Sensible Drug Policy.
Okay, perfect.
So, we're doing a pop-up debate. I don't know if we're actually going to do a debate as much as we're just going to do a discussion. Okay. We're going to just pass the microphone back and forth.
I can argue against your position.
We can debate, so
yeah, that'll work.
it's the two of us versus the two of them.
So basically it goes...
Could you tape it?
Is it okay if I can tape it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
Okay.
no problem at all.
Okay.
Basically it's going to go...
I'm arguing against, so I don't get any backlash.
You'll make a point, they'll make a point, your partner will make a point, their partner will make a point, right?
Okay.
And then you get the first rebuttal, they get a rebuttal, that person gets a rebuttal, person gets a rebuttal.
Okay. And
All right.
does it open it up with like a question, or does
Yeah,
someone
you
just
can-
make
Well, no, the question is, should we end the war on drugs? And so
Oh,
you
okay.
make your first argument, whatever you want to debate,
Okay.
right? And so we're not arguing over one another, it's just each person gets to make an argument and then each person gets to make a rebuttal.
Our debate now is going to be on war on drugs.
Drugs!
Yeah, that should get everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are pro-ending.
Yes.
So, our position is that we should maintain a war on drugs.
Sorry.
We should maintain a war on drugs insofar as we, as a society, enforce our laws restricting the use of harmful substances that people should not be encouraged to use or even condoned to use. Let's take the most extreme example, heroin. Heroin is a substance that, when taken as a drug recreationally, people can't stop most of the time. People become heavily addicted. It ruins people's lives, it cripples families, it causes massive social disturbance. It's not a good thing for people to be doing. And as a society, we shouldn't condone this, so we should make it illegal. This war on drugs that we have should be continued. We should continue to stop people distributing these harmful substances to people, and ipso facto ruining a lot of people's lives. If we continue the war on drugs and we succeed in the war on drugs, we will succeed in removing a harmful element of society that perniciously takes away people's livelihoods, families, careers, and dignity.
So I'm going to be arguing to end the war on drugs. So essentially, after 40 years and nearly $1 trillion of federal spending, we've seen no decrease in drug consumption amongst any demographic in the United States. Actually, drug usage is at an all-time high in the United States. So the drug war has been completely ineffective. In fact, prescription pill overdose is higher in states that don't have medical marijuana or fully legalization of marijuana than they are in states that restrict marijuana consumption. So the drug war is racist, classist, and extremely expensive. And ultimately, that cost ends up on the taxpayer. It's $30,000 a year to federally imprison someone, and we have extreme mandatory minimums associated with drug possession that is a victimless crime. It's extremely expensive for us to pay for in the long run, 10, 20-year sentences in some cases. So what's the alternative then? If the drug war doesn't work and it's very expensive and it targets minorities and it's immoral, then what's our alternative? Legalizing drugs is something that's extremely decisive. Many people are very hesitant to say that drugs should be legalized. However, in states that have legalized medical marijuana or recreational marijuana, prescription pill overdose drops 25%. So it is a public health concern that drug consumption is so rampant, but our strategies so far have been completely ineffective, and we could approach more sensible policies that focus on rehabilitation and reentry programs that have proven statistically to be more effective than incarceration. People that serve out their entire prison sentences are more likely to re-enter criminal behavior than those who are given a chance to have reduced sentences or re-enter rehabilitation or re-entry programs back into society. So the drug war not only does not keep us safer or decrease drug usage, it actually makes us less safe and increases drug usage. As you all know, that there are a lot of drug cartels internationally that kill thousands of people every year. In just the last 6 years, 60,000 people have died in the Mexican drug war due to cartel violence. I don't really have to make the case to you that cartels wouldn't exist if businesses were allowed to distribute drugs instead, and they were allowed to follow proper protocols and regulations. Obviously, we don't want people to be on drugs. Drug consumption and drug addiction is a huge problem. It's an epidemic in the United States. Tens of thousands of people die from prescription pill overdose every year. It's starting to become more dangerous than automobile accidents. So we focus on education, giving universities, doctors, and scientists the chance to research drugs and come up with thorough, real scientific evidence for any possible medicinal benefits or otherwise, positive things, we can start to shift the focus from treating drug usage as criminal behavior rather than a health issue. And that's pretty much the gist of it.
We can legalize marijuana by reclassifying it not as a drug and then continue the war on drugs. Just because we're behind doesn't mean that we should stop fighting the war on drugs. It means all the more that we need to continue the war on drugs. Drugs such as heroin or cocaine are very serious drugs that we should not legalize and that we still need police protection from. And that cartels would not exist if we legalize these things. They would simply hide behind businesses. This would make them more dangerous because they'd have the protection of a business to continue other illegal activities such as human trafficking and other or organ trafficking and other things that they engage in. Legalizing drugs isn't going to stop cartels. It's going to create a business in which cartels are the legal market. So I'm going to reiterate the fact that my teammate ended with, that the war on drugs, the focus has primarily been on making drug cartels or drug consumption a criminal activity, where it's more a human health concern and public perception issue, and that's why the war on drugs is very ineffective, and it's not really fulfilling the purpose that it intends to of regulating the use and misuse or abuse of controlled substances. So therefore, because of its ineffectiveness, because of the fact that it completely misses its point, and has caused the perception of drugs being a criminal issue more than a mental health and addiction issue, people are not realizing. I feel like that's why war on drugs the war on drugs should be stopped.
Good job, guys.